Hey, my sweet marshmallows. Hopefully, you guys are doing well today. This is day 2 of the 7-day challenge of shadow work. Okay. Hopefully, you guys have really tapped into yourselves and found out, different parts of yourself. Um, ask questions on questions just to get deeper and digging deeper um, of yourself and things like that. It went well with my 5 people, and I discovered something amongst all of them that maybe you guys can also use within this 7 days and just like, over time in your life. Okay. So this is day 2. I'm going to go down the rundown of what the activities are. And also, I'm going to give you the actual separate exercise that I formulated for the group. Okay. Again, this is something that you're going to discover is better if it's, just done by yourself or done with another person to help you kind of understand the better, a better method of helping you do shadow work. Okay, so I noticed that my 5 people had a hard time setting boundaries. Okay, so let's just talk about boundaries. You have 4 types of boundaries here. Okay, most people didn't know that. Me myself didn't know that until I really thought about it and was like, yeah, those are the 4 things that we all use. Okay, so 4 different types. You have physical, external, internal, and temporal. Okay, which is what you call quote unquote temporary, or your temporal, like inside your brain. I'm gonna explain a little bit more of what they are. So looking at physical boundaries, this is a boundary where you can visually see somebody backing up, getting out of your space, so that way you can feel comfortable with the situation, just your area. The external boundary is more of like receiving and deflecting in a sense, okay? Not to the point where you're denying what's being said, but you're using that internal to work with the external. So let me kind of explain a little bit more of what internal is and how is it working with the external. So internal boundaries is where you can express your emotions and sort those emotions out amongst yourself. Pretty much like this is where the shadow work comes in. Internally, when you know yourself to the T, or when you know that your feelings are valid or something like that, and you are able to differentiate those feelings amongst yourself and not tricking yourself out about who you truly are, that's you building an internal boundary, so that way you do not fall victim to a narcissist that may cause you to feel less than, or make you feel like the actual words or behaviors that they're doing is you. Okay, so after you can do the internal, you can definitely set external boundaries, where if a person calls you, let's just say, childish, internally, that internal boundary with yourself, you have to stop yourself from falling victim and sort that out and be like, am I really childish? And then when you be like, no, then you can set that external boundary and be like, no, I'm not. And tell that, pretty much like, tell that person no. Do not project onto me. And that's how those two work together. The last boundary that I want to talk about is temporal, okay? So this is when you go back and forth, in your mind, going back to the past and going forward. So this is for my overthinkers, the people that like to think about the past constantly, and things like to come up in your brain and constantly be a reminder of things. Also, you like to look into the future and be nagged by those thoughts that's running through your mind. How you can set a boundary with that is pretty much stay present in the moment. Stay present in the moment. Try to figure out the now. That's why I say take it a step at a time, like a timeline, okay? So if you here in the now, work on the now, and then as you get better with your shadow work, you can go forward, or you can go backwards from the now. But always try to focus on the now and the present time, because this is what you're trying to fix, is the now, okay? The best way to setting a boundary and knowing which one to use, you would know which one to use first. That's what I'm saying. First, identify which desired boundary is necessary for your situation. Okay? After you can do that, communicate to your person that you are setting that boundary. Okay? Communicate that you are setting that boundary, but also remember to not over explain why. because that's going to give you opportunity to break those boundaries, and this person can pretty much talk you out of building that boundary in the first place. Last but not least, set that consequence, pretty much that boundary or that consequence, and stick on it, stay beside it. Don't look back, because this is you practicing the first steps of doing that. And as you flex that muscle, it's going to get stronger. You're going to have stronger boundaries and be able to set them with no problem. Okay? So that is just the first thing that I wanted to speak about, was boundaries. Now we're going to actually look at the assignments that I have assigned for day 2. So for day 2, I have patterns, inner child, and identify. Okay? So let's just look at patterns. I may have to put the pictures of the questions in the link down below. I'm going to try to remember to do that, but I'm also going to speak them out as well. So with patterns, the first question, it says, what do you struggle with the most in your life? Okay? That's number 1. You can pause the video if I'm talking too fast. Number 2, what patterns do you see repeating themselves in your life? 3, how does it make you feel when a pattern shows up in your life that is unhealthy? 4, what patterns are you mimicking from your parents? The last question, what can you change or do differently to break those patterns? Okay. So I would suggest that you kind of title each selection of questions, so that way you can know what are you really doing. This is patterns. This is where you're picking up and identifying the pattern. Okay. This is what you're doing. The next thing that we're going to be doing is actually working with the inner child. You're going to be working with the inner child. So what we will be doing with the inner child, you also have 5 more questions, and you will also have homework. I assign homework to all of the people that I'm working with, only because this is a way for them to still practice it, even though we're not together actively talking, okay? And also just to see if they learn anything, just like when you're in school. So for your inner child, the first question, it says, what memories from pretty much your childhood stand out? Take note, are they good memories or bad memories? That will be significant. Second question, what feelings do you associate with those memories? Again, think about that. Number 3, how did those events shape the person that you are today? Good questions. Fourth question, what would you like to tell your younger self? Younger self being at any age that is younger from this point. It could be advice, it could be an apology, whatever you want to tell them. Fifth and last question, give your younger self compassion and empathy. Now, this is a part of the exercise where I actually want you to go into the mirror, okay? I want you to go to the mirror and pretty much talk to yourself. Because as I told one of my people that's actually having spiritual counseling, like the full little month thing that I offer, that we have different versions of ourselves within ourselves, and it's up to us to unlock those versions of ourselves and to fully accept all of those versions of ourselves. We constantly make versions of ourselves every day. Why? Because from that inner child growing up, and those things that you go through, you are literally building a different version of yourself. You offer different versions to yourself. I'm not going to say like code switching, but kind of like code switching, where when you're in a situation or dealing with certain people, you kind of tend to revert to a different version of yourself. So talk to yourself in the mirror and show yourself compassion and empathy, love, anything positive to make yourself feel comfortable with sharing with yourself. It's like another person. I'm not crazy, but do it. The homework that you guys will be having after you know, going through all these questions, which you do have 5 more questions possibly with identify. But the homework after you answer those questions is actually write a letter or draw a picture. If you're an artist, you can draw a picture, paint a mural, however you want to express yourself. Just make sure that you are able to express to yourself visually, or you know, still visually with writing. Write a letter to your younger self. You know, I told one of my people to, when you write that letter, write it from the point of when you can remember being your youngest self. Like most of the time babies, but most people don't remember that. But from baby up until now. But also remember, like they said with your inner child, write yourself a letter from the points of which those childhood memories stood out to you. Whether good or bad, write a letter to that person or you know. You're going to do that, and if you want to draw a picture, try to draw a picture of yourself and also the surrounding of yourself, okay? It's interesting to see if I do this with my people today, because I have not even done this with them yet. Okay. So, next 5 questions that you have here, this is identify, okay? So identify is like pretty much dealing with more of the identity of self a little bit. So this is a question, the first question: what do you not like about yourself? And be completely honest with yourself, okay? Be completely honest with yourself, and every time, like I said, question those feelings, those thoughts. So what is it that you don't like about yourself, and ask yourself, why don't I like it? Second question: what do you not like about others? Again, tell me, and then also tell me why with an explanation. The more specific you can be, the more you can dig down deep and discover why you do what you do and why you feel the way you do. Third question: how do you think others see you? What do you think they don't like about you? So this is the outer shell. So pretty much it's like you're going to be able to identify that mask that you're showing people, okay? What is it that you're showing people? I'm going to repeat the question. How do you think others see you? And what do you think they don't like about you? Fourth question: what makes you feel irritated, disgusted, angry, scared, and sad? Okay? Again, be very specific as to what makes you feel this way, and then ask yourself why. Last and final question: why do those things around you feel that way? Pretty much why those things, you know, make you feel that way. Again, that's why, but that's the second part of it. So you can actually do like a split of a sheet or something like that. Those are all the questions. Like I said, you can pause the video and go back and answer those questions. Again, don't forget to be kind to yourself. I also recommend that everybody that's doing the 7-day challenge with me to at least meditate 1 to 5 minutes the 7 days. If you can, try to make time to meditate. If not meditate, spend time with yourself. Whatever you consider meditation, that is up to you. But I do want you to have the goal of at least receiving messages from your spiritual team, your inner child, which is your younger self, and feel those emotions of which you are meditating, okay? So what I mean by that, you may be sitting in deep thought and out, you know, just out of nowhere, you feel this overwhelmness of sadness, okay? Write down and document everything that you feel, see, or receive after that meditation, so that way you can kind of correlate what's going on, okay? So hopefully you guys are doing great after the first day. We will come back in a third video to see how you guys are doing from the second day. Make sure that you comment down below and let me know what's going on. You know, are y'all doing well? Would y'all like more tips? I can make a separate video. Just anything. But until next time, y'all stay sweet, my marshmallows.